Ladies and gentlemen, and especially all the wonderful delegates who have come from different parts of the world, let me introduce you to the man you will come to know as extremely significant in taking India to its stature as a global leader. Devendra Fadnavis, Honorable Chief Minister of Maharastra, the second youngest Chief Minister of Maharastra, which is the most economically advanced and urbanized state of India, with 70% of our stock markets transacted on its stock exchange, with the highest number of taxpayers in the country. Leading a very, very significant state, Devendra Fadnavis has promised a new vision. He is leading by example to deliver that new vision. The new vision of leadership characterized by him is that of simplicity. In India, I don't know if you know, but we've got this little culture where the VIPs or the very important people get special privileges, and there's a little alienation from the common man. But Devendra Fadnavis is all out to change that. So he waits at that red signal at the traffic light and does not have his convoy clear it, unless of course there are some security reasons, but he waits there. When he's at the airport, he stands in the queue like you and I and waits to get his boarding pass. That is the culture of simplicity that Devendra Fadnavis embodies and is leading by example. A crusader against corruption. Somebody who is very dedicated to implementation. I must share about the crack team in the CM office, which operates on war footing. What I mean by that is, we all know, we were talking this morning about India having to really get its act together when infrastructure and infrastructure implementation projects are concerned, because that is the ABC of development, that is the basics of development. So where the infrastructure projects of Maharashtra are concerned, the technology-savvy Chief Minister has an app on his tablet, and the app shows him three colors: red, orange and green. And he is doing a 24/7 live monitoring of the progress of the various infrastructure projects going on in roads, in railways, in shipping, etc. And so if he sees a green color flashing on his app, it means all is well. Everything's going on, things are okay. If he sees the orange color flashing on his app, it means some little hurdles, some little blocks. And if he sees red, it means it's completely blocked, there are huge bureaucratic issues, and the CM's crack team is triggered into action. And the Chief Minister himself leads the crack team, monitors its work very, very closely, and gets into the action, puts time-bound procedures so that the little delays that are, and the blockages that are there in the implementation of the project get cleared ASAP. The man of action, the man of delivery, the man from whom India, the youth, have huge expectations. The man who is going to write in significant ways the future of India. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause to Devendra Fadnavis.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of you. All the ladies and few gentlemen. It's a rare occasion. Normally we see all the gentlemen and few ladies. But I am happy that this is Women Economic Forum, and it has participation from many countries. I'm sure that this will lead to a roadmap for not only the economic development of women, but also would significantly contribute in the new economic journey of our country, a new path which is shown to us by our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. I was told that I should speak here about Maharashtra. And I'm really glad to speak about Maharashtra because Maharashtra, my state, is powerhouse of India. It contributes 15% of the national GDP. It contributes to around 30% of the entire exports of India. It accounts for 30% of the FDI which comes into India. It is also a manufacturing hub of India. It truly portrays the Make in India movement because almost all global companies, global manufacturing giants have their presence in Maharashtra. The global CEOs have their connect with Mumbai, and it is truly industrial and financial capital of India. Of late, many states started competing with Maharashtra, and they did well. And I must acknowledge that the cooperative federalism and the competitive federalism envisaged by our Honorable Prime Minister, we have seen it happening for last few years. Now, we have understood that a state like Maharashtra cannot grow only on the basis of its past glory. It needs to have proactive policies. It needs to have all type of engagements, and more than that, it needs to have ease in doing business. So basically, we started focusing on ease in doing business. When I took over as Chief Minister and took the first review meeting, I was amazed to see that even in a designated industrial area, if you had to start an industry, you required 76 permissions, and those permissions took time ranging from 1 month to sometimes 2 years. So I decided that we need to ease this regulatory regime we started taking review of the permissions. In the first meeting itself, we decided that we will bring down this number of permissions to 25. Day before yesterday, I took a review meeting. We have already brought it down from 76 to 37, and by 15th of June, we'll bring them down to 25. And not just to 25, but also they would be put on a single IT platform so that we have a real single window system. In India, in many states, including my states, for many years, we used to say that we have a single window system. But when I looked into the details of single window system, I understood that you enter from a single window and then you have multiple doors. So I said, this is not done. We need to have a real single window. And that's why my state is now bringing everything on a single window, mostly simplified formats to be submitted online, and the onus now would be on the government to help getting all the NOCs in stipulated time. We also find out that we have labor laws which neither benefit labor nor do they benefit the industry. And in our country, talking about amending labor laws is a big taboo. It's like you are anti-labor and pro-industrialist. But when I studied the laws, I felt that there can be certain interventions which can make it a win-win situation for both labor and industry. A labor law, I feel, should not restrict employment. It should promote employment. At the same time, the industries should have a quick exit route. Because if they don't have a quick exit route and you have an entire regulatory framework, for years together, you get entangled into court cases, resulting into blockage of the investment, which is non-productive, which puts pressure of interest, ultimately resulting into NPAs. Your space is engaged without any production, and the labor, in a hope that someday things will get better, is just waiting and not going to any other form of employment. So we have already in principle agreed to amend certain laws, and soon we will legislate so that the labor laws would be amended so that they create more employment, more protection, but at the same time they would give a quick exit policy to the industry, to the business, and I feel that would boost the investment climate in our state. This is also a very age-old Inspector Raj in our country. any day some or other inspector would come to your industry and ask you, show me this compliance, that compliance. So normally, when people from SMEs meet me, they say our entire energy is consumed in compliances. We have no time. And once in a 5 year, through a random protocol, like a lottery system we have on computer, once in 5 years, inspector will go, and that would also be coordinated. All the departments who need to have a look at it should go together, should inform, should go together and just verify that the self-certification given to them is correct, it's not forged, it's not fudged, and whatever is their opinion, in 72 hours, they should register their opinion on the website so that nobody has time to negotiate. Because normally, when you give a lot of time to negotiate, then it gives a way for corruption. So that the people from businesses are called, they are shown, look, this is a lacuna, this is a lacuna, this is a lacuna, now you pay this much to me and we'll settle it down. So we are keeping no scope for settlement. I think not just this, even for the hospitality industry, let's say in Mumbai, if you want to open a hotel or a restaurant, can you imagine you have to take 160 permissions? Ultimately, an investor thinks that it's better not to invest. So we actually made an entire study of the process, and now we are at the verge of making it simplify, and we'll bring down the number to 20. And we could also include the permission from the police department, which is most critical and most difficult to get. There are a number of initiatives, because I feel that if you want your country, your state to grow, you must welcome the investors. There has to be a regime which really looks at the regulations positively. Don't exploit the regulations. And it gives me immense pride to say that now, once again, Maharashtra has become a preferred destination for the investors. I went to Davos, I went to Hanover, I went to Stockholm, to Israel. There is huge interest of people to invest into India. The call given by our Honorable Prime Minister, Make in India, seems to be creating a lot of interest in the investors. Now it's up to the states that they create a regime which gives red carpet and not red tape to the investors, and I think that has been our major focus. since this is a Women's Economic Forum, I must say that we are trying to build a lot of ideas which could focus into developing entrepreneurship in women. Lot of initiatives we have planned, because I feel that if India has to progress, it needs to engage the better half of its population into its economy. We need to convert this portion of the population into human resource. It's a country with demographic advantage. 50% of our population is below 25 years of age. And if this 50% of our population, which includes 50% women, is converted into human resource, India would not only succeed in making India a success, but it would be able to provide this human resource to entire world. Because by 2020, when the average age of India would be 29 years, the average age of Japan would be 48 years. The average age of China would be 37 years, that of America would be 39 years, that of both Eastern and Western Europe would be more than 40 years. So the entire globe would require human resource to fuel their economies. And if we could create that human resource, India would be able to provide the entire globe its human resource, and it would be able to cater the entire thrust of consumption of the entire globe. So I feel that there is immense opportunity with India. In India, the opportunity is more in Maharashtra. So I invite all of you to come to Maharashtra, invest there, flourish, and make the Make in Maharashtra a success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We have the unique opportunity here, all of us, to pose a few questions to Devendraji. I had the unique opportunity, and I'm very grateful for that, and all of us had heard Amritaji also over here, and she spoke very candidly to us yesterday on women and women issues, and many other issues. Since this is an economic forum, we are looking at all issues that concern women. So as the chair, I'll take the advantage to pose the first question, and then of course come to all of you after some questions to open the house and take some questions from the audience. So my first question is, we know of you, again, you're very, very focused on implementation. We just had Pinky speak about excellent laws that we have, but there is a lacuna in the implementation. And the biggest sufferers of that lack of implementation, of course, the common man is, but women particularly. The kind of problems, social, crime, a rise in crime that we see in our society, which affects the women. What would Maharashtra be doing, or maybe it has already begun doing, just like you are tackling infrastructure projects and following their implementation at God's speed? I know it will be a little difficult to deal with the human problem. It's a sort of a little bit easier to deal with products and materials. But what would be the strategies that Maharashtra would be taking up in order to address this problem of rising crime against women and ensure that laws are implemented, they are enforced, and women get speedy access to justice, not just post the event, but also preventive measures to prevent these kind of things in the first place?
Thank you. In fact, it's a very good question. I must say that Maharashtra is taking many steps to prevent crime against women. First step which we have taken is free registration of complaints. Because if you have to wage a war against crime against women, you have to take it head on. If you start putting things below the carpet, on statistical note, you can show that the crime against women is going down, but that's not a fact. So what we decided, that although we will have to face the criticism that the number is rising, but we sensitized our police department and told them every single complaint should be registered. We are trying to sensitize even the communities that if something happens, have faith in police, please register a complaint, because if you would not register a complaint for the social issues, then the culprits would always feel that they can get away with anything. So first thing we have started is free registration of complaint. Second thing, we have started acting on improving rate of conviction. In fact, for last 10-15 years, the rate of conviction in Maharashtra has been very low. You would be amazed to know that the rate of conviction in Maharashtra was just 8%. Of 100 culprits put, only 8 were convicted and 92 acquitted. If a convict knows, a criminal knows that there is a justice system wherein he can get away with any crime, then the law loses its deterrent effect. So we started focusing on rate of conviction at series of reforms, and I'm happy to tell that the rate of conviction for the last month was 38%, a big jump. At the same time, we are also trying to sensitize our police. Fortunately, Maharashtra is one force where we have a large presence of women cops. So now we have decided to place a women's cell in every police station. In every police station. In fact, there was an idea of creating all women police station. But then when we looked at it in a pragmatic, practical way, you can study in a formal education. At certain point of time, if you feel that you need to acquire skills, you can opt out, can gain the skills. Again, you feel after working for some time, you want to again go to the formal education system, you can again come to the formal education system and you get credits for the skill you have acquired. So it's not that you have left the formal system at grade A and you have acquired skills for, let's say, 4 or 5 years and have worked, and if you are asked to again go to grade A or grade B, then it does not give you any incentive. So now, based on this credit system, you may re-enter at grade C or grade D or at the last grade. So I think that this framework, which the central government has created, needs to be translated into action. The skill development is easy to say, but difficult to do. Because what skill sets you need or a community needs has to be ascertained. When I look at the ITIs which are performing in various parts of our countries, or for that matter even in Maharastra, the other day when I had a meeting with Bosch, they said we are ready to pick up your 25 ITIs and we'll impart all the training in those 25 ITIs. Because they said that the training which you are giving, the diesel engine which actually you are giving training on is outdated. We no more use it. So even if somebody has a ITI training, is a trained diesel engine mechanic, and if the diesel engine is not compatible with the new technology, then I think the skills are wasted. So the skilling is a very dynamic activity. It has to be integrated with the needs of industry. And not just industry, in a country like India, you have to integrate skills with even agriculture. Because when we look at China, and we find that China, even the terrain is bad, the cultivable land is less, the weather is not favorable, even water for irrigation is less. Still, their entire production is twice that of India, because they created skilled manpower even in agriculture. So there has to be a very dynamic system where we don't focus on just gross enrollment ratios, but we have integration of various fields so as to create the skilled manpower, which in fact, when I talk to people, on one hand, I see a lot of unemployment. People say we want employment. And if you ask any industrialist, he said, I am short of manpower, I don't get manpower. So there is a skill gap. So at every single moment, we have to find out this skill gap and we have to develop those skills. It has to be a dynamic process. And I think the government of India has integrated its 17 departments. Even in my state, I have integrated 14 departments. I have started a new skill development and entrepreneurship ministry, which is focusing on this. And I feel if we can really create a proper skill framework, then the Indian population can be converted into human resource which could contribute not only in India but also for the globe.
Take the opportunity to ask the last question from my end before I open it to the audience over here. Lot of us, lot of the people over here from different parts of India, and they have come over here for this annual Women Economic Forum primarily because they love India, right? They're all here because they find India a beautiful place to be in, warmth, hospitality, a over 5,000 year old tradition, and it still continues. And we see a little, in India itself, I feel the youth have a little disconnect from our age-old values, which is basically responsible for who we are today. But there is an erosion of values that we see. There is an erosion of culture that we see. Education, which should be addressing that, perhaps is unable to address that. I don't know why that is. Parents are becoming more occupied as economic agents. They need to work. Lives are becoming busier, stressful, competitive. It's a difficult world we live in. And frankly, we are losing it, and we are not being able to provide the kind of spiritual leadership that we need to give to our children, and that the world expects from us. What do you think is the way forward in ensuring that India is the spiritual light and remains the spiritual light that it has been for itself and to millions of seekers from around the world who come to its sacred lands to seek peace and wisdom?
I feel there are certain values which remain unchanged. There are certain values which can be practiced in all ages. But at the same time, we must understand that there are values created in every age. So, even the value system has to be dynamic. There has always been conflict in the basic values which our culture or civilization has given to us with the changing values which have been developed with every coming generation. And I feel it's not good if we say that only my generation has values and this new generation does not have value. It's because there is a disconnect between him and me. So I don't understand that even he has values which I don't think that they suit me. So there needs to be an integration of those values which should and have been remain unchanged. At the same time, we should be ready to embrace the values which are created by every generation. And I think there is a lack in between. So we are basically focused on our past, which is important. But when we say that we are focused on our past, we preach our past, we preach the values. But in practice, we don't actually practice them. So it's like, what is value system? Value system is basically to educate the society to be humans, to be good to others, to be respectful for the rights of others, for liberty of others, so that we can coexist. And that is what is our value system. I feel we need to present the value system in new brand, in new language, so that even the generation next understands and embraces the value system. See, if tomorrow I tell somebody in a conversation about the Rishi Muni tradition of India, and if I don't go into deep, then they feel that this is something age old and has nothing to do with it. But if I tell somebody about yoga, it creates huge interest. Now what is yoga? Yoga is Indian tradition, and that tradition is accepted by entire globe, entire world. So I think that we must know how to communicate. And once we start communicating our values in the language which generation next understand, I think this conflict will go.
We will open the house to questions. Jesse from the United States will ask a question. He's also a Satya Sai Baba devotee and lives in Puttaparthi. So India is his land too.
Absolutely. Dear Chief Minister, thank you. I just want to share that I led a workshop that I usually lead with men, with these wonderful goddesses. And in 15 minutes, they created a feminine-dominated society in which they immediately started hugging each other, forming a circle, dancing, laughing, and you did a wonderful job. What I wanted to ask you, sir, is you talked about the entrepreneurial programs in your state, and some of the women are very interested in these entrepreneurial opportunities. And I was wondering if you have, like in the United States, we have financial incentives for women. And I was just wondering if you could speak on your state, whether you have those kinds of opportunities specifically for women.
Just to paraphrase your question, so you mean for women who want to enter the domain of entrepreneurship in the state of Maharashtra, are there any kind of financial assistance?
Yes, incentives. Yeah.
Okay, incentives, okay.
See, there are two things which we have been doing. One is, we are encouraging women to have self-help groups. And now those self-help groups have become the centers of small-scale industries. They are producing things and we are trying to give them places to market their things. So this self-help group, this process has engaged a lot of women. Now we have started giving them skills. We have started teaching them branding, packaging, and in this budget, now we are creating malls which would only give places to women self-help groups to sell their products which have been created by them. At the same time, we have started certain venture capital funds which could also help the women entrepreneurs to have our contributions into their equities. Now we are focusing more on innovations and startups, where also we feel that we would try to engage women more.
Yes, Amukta Jain, she is the past president of the FICCI Ladies Organization.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Thank you so much for such a scintillating and heart-to-heart conversation with you. You're a great inspiration for all of us. And I would like to ask you that your car has been often seen standing at the red light, nobody letting you go before the others, no convoy before you. The same thing is seen at the airports. Are you trying to stop this VVIP culture and this disruption of the entire society caused by that?
See, one thing is that I really don't believe in VVIP culture. I feel that, there have been certain cultures created because at certain point of time they were needed, but they are no more needed. It's like wherever I used to go, there's a system which has been started by the British people, that wherever the chief minister goes, you get a salute and those all policemen standing for you for hours together. I said, why this is required? It is not required anymore because Britishers wanted to show their might. That they wanted to show that they are superior because they wanted to rule the country. So it was right for them to start at that time. But now it's a free country. Why do at every place I need people to give me salute? So I said it's not required. It's wastage of my manpower. So I said in my state nobody will get this treatment. I've done away with it. At the same time, this system of convoy and all these traffic disruptions, you require it at some time because ultimately, when you are head of the state, you are required to perform and your time is precious. So, at times, to reach certain places on time, you require it. But every day you don't require it. Also, at certain times there are security concerns. So those who are vulnerable should be provided security, should be also protected on the signals. But every time you don't need it, everybody doesn't need it. So I said, do my security audit, provide me security which is required, don't provide me extra security. So when I was given Z plus security, I said, I don't require it, why are you giving it to me? But I was told that, not as Devendra Fadnavis, but as Chief Minister of Maharastra, you have an actual threat. So we want to give you Z plus security. I said, okay, if you are giving me Z plus security, that's fine. But in Z plus security, why do you need such a long convoy? 10-15 vehicles. So I've cut it down to 5. I want to cut it down more, but the police is not agreeing to it. So I said, not every day that I am in a hurry or I have a security threat. So I said, on all normal days, my convoy would stop at every signal like any other fellow citizen. It's only when there is a need that I have to reach somewhere and it's an emergency, then only I would use this system of breaking the lights and clearing the traffic. So I feel it's not about VVIP culture, it's about a mindset. Till I became Chief Minister, I did not take a security. Even when I was President of Bharatiya Janata Party, Maharastra, I did not take security. Because if you require security, you must take it. But just as a status symbol, if you take security, I have seen there are many times that these poor security guards are carrying the suitcases of the leaders. If you require a security guard to carry your suitcase, if tomorrow somebody attacks you and he is carrying your suitcase, how will he protect you? So it's just as a status symbol, you don't require it. So I feel that this mindset needs to be changed. What is required should be done. Everything is not questionable. If somebody tomorrow questions, why do you need to stop the traffic for the Prime Minister? It's required. Prime Minister has such huge threat. So it's required. Ultimately, it's symbol of our country. But not for every other person that you require this. So whatever is required should be done. Whatever is not required should be done away with.
Young lady here, a young entrepreneur from Delhi, Mansi Mahajan. She deals in real estate and is a yoga expert. Please, your question.
Good morning, sir. It's been remarkable to hear you speak, so very inspiring. And thank you for this opportunity to access you today. What I wanted to ask was that although Maharashtra has, been the economic sort of epicenter of the country and the financial capital, but over the past 2 decades, there's been a bit of a decline in the economic prowess of the state. So there's a mammoth task ahead of you. So if you could just throw some light on how you were thinking of managing that.
I think we are bringing things back on track. So already, as I've told, by ease in doing business, we are attracting huge investments. Now we are promoting Mumbai as a international financial services center. And I feel that Mumbai has all the capacity to attract all the global fund managers. Because Mumbai is one place which coincides at certain point of time with entire global financial markets. So that advantage of time zone can be leveraged upon. So I've already started creating a framework where we would build few iconic buildings and we will attract through, I'm grateful to the union government on my request. Now they have actually changed the tax system. Earlier, a fund manager who used to manage funds from India, even those funds which he managed abroad, not in India, since he was operating from India, he was taxed. So I said that no fund manager would come to India. if you are taxing him for the fund which he manages abroad. And that has been accepted by this government, and in this budget they have actually removed that provision. So a fund manager who operates from Mumbai, let's say, for only his operations in the country he would be taxed. Outside country he would not be taxed. There are certain other small issues of arbitrations and laws which we have started working on. So I feel that soon, if we create a proper framework, all the global fund managers who have either moved to London or to Singapore or to Dubai would come back to Mumbai, and that would give great importance not only to Mumbai but also to our country. So there are a series of reforms which we have taken up, and I feel that by next year's economic survey of India is tabled, Maharastra would be number one.
Wonderful. It's great to have you, Taruna Umar. She's an entrepreneur in the media and animation industry, and she has done actually very path-breaking work. Taruna, you want to just tell what you've done, and before you ask your question to the Honorable CM?
Yeah, it's been an enriching experience listening to you, sir. We make political cartoons, and I don't know if you've been seeing them. We make these So Sorry series that comes on Aaj Tak and headlines today.
That's great. Fortunately, I am not featured as of now, so it's great to watch.
I'm happy to know you. I mean, it's nice to know that young leaders like yourselves, you have a great sense of humor, and we appreciate that because we haven't seen that in the past in our politicians. I mean, it's pretty inspiring to see a leader like yourself, as young as you. What made you, decide upon politics as a career?
In fact, I can say that it was an accident. Basically, I always wanted to practice as a lawyer and wanted to practice legal profession. But in fact, I have background of being a RSS worker, and while working for RSS, one day few of my seniors, they wanted me to start working for BJP. So at the age of 18, actually I started working for BJP, and while I was just 21 years, in fact I did not even complete 21 years of age, and one day since the corporation elections were there, one of my seniors called me and he said, "We want you to contest election." So I said, okay, but I went back and I realized that I have not even completed 21, so I cannot actually fight the election. But thanks to Prime Minister Narsi Rao, he actually amended the constitution and had 74th amendment. So by 74th amendment, the election was delayed by 6 months, and I completed. So I completed my age. So while I was in the final year of graduation, I got elected as corporate, and the journey began. Till date, I have never looked back.
I'll come to all of you. I know there are many questions. Probably we'll have to leave some for another time.
Kiranji is here, so now
yes.
one more interesting session is here.
I want to take a question from Shweta Rena. Shweta Rena is from Mumbai. She studied at Harvard, and she was our youngest speaker on, in all our panels. The youngest speaker. She represents the Generation Z here, and she's doing a very interesting work. She's working with colleges to help graduates become work ready, so that they know their self and they have communication skills, like you were saying, and a whole range of other skills. Shweta, your question.
Thank you so much, Harbeen, for that kind introduction, and I really appreciate all your comments today. I think you're a real icon for young entrepreneurs in India. My question is more around how young entrepreneurs like me, not women or men, but just young entrepreneurs, can work more closely with the Maharashtra government and how the Maharashtra government can support us in our initiatives. I think young people today want to scale. The numbers are 200 million graduates by 2020. And we cannot do this alone. We will need to work with the government because the majority of colleges in India are still state funded or supported. So how can we work with you more closely? Are there any structured programs for you to support us? Thank you.
In fact, of late I realized that what we lack in our country is a lot of incubation centers and startups. Unless we have incubation centers and startups, we will not be able to engage our young talent. So recently when I went to Israel, I had an interaction with the Office of Chief Scientist of Israel. They have their R&D in industries and entrepreneurship. That actually arm of the Chief Scientist, we had a very good interaction, and we have decided that with their help, because that's one place where you have maximum number of startups and incubation centers. So we have decided to collaborate with them to have certain incubation centers and startups to be put in place in Maharashtra. Recently, we have decided to work with Mumbai University to have certain startups. We also want every college to have at least some initiatives for incubation centers. I think once we put it in place, also we have started a venture capital fund, which would, after these incubation centers and startups, the major requirement is equity funds. So we would also help through this venture capital fund. Yesterday only I had an agreement with SIDBI, and we have created a fund of 200 crores to help the young entrepreneurs. So we want the young entrepreneurs to work closely with the government. I think that very soon you will find such many initiatives being taken up by our government.
Thank you so much. I think I've been biased a little on the left side. I should move my perspective on the right side a little bit and take some questions from there. I see a question from His Excellency, the Ambassador of Turkey, Mr. Burak Akçabar, who was at a session yesterday. Your Excellency.
I'll come here so that you can
Yes,
see me.
absolutely.
If you allow me, I would like to start by congratulating the mothers to be, mothers who are not here on this International Mother's Day. This is the first Mother's Day that I'm having without my mother. She passed away last year, so it's very special for me. Over the couple of days before, Mr. Chief Minister, we've had very interesting sessions here. And of course, both you and I, not being women, we're not harbingers of change. But I must say that as for myself and my wife Shebnem, we have become harbingers of So I benefited tremendously in the last couple of days, but also today from your remarks. That it was very interesting for me how you connected with the phenomenon of our day and age, the rise of the middle class. Your emphasis on non-VVIP culture, the functional approach to the security arrangements, not the symbolic side of it and everything else. And your energy as a politician. It's quite impressive with me. Of course, I see the same energy in New Delhi where I live. And in my meeting with the Honorable Prime Minister, the first thing he said to me is, more business, more trade, let's do it. I said, okay, where are all these excellencies and everything going? It's gone where it should go. It's irrelevant. It's a lot of prefixes and suffixes that just distract you. I'm going to not ask a question, so leave space for the others, but just make a comment. Based on the 4 years that I've been living in India, the energy is most impressive, and the emphases are, of course, quite correct as far as I'm concerned. Two areas I would want to highlight from my experience, that's tie into many things that you're trying to do, whether it's in Maharastra or overall in India. One is, of course, the infrastructure. Neither will make India nor anything else will fulfill their full potential unless we find an urgent solution to the infrastructure. Basically, the average speed, for instance, on Indian roads is 20 kilometers per hour. In Turkey, it's 120 kilometers per hour. It affects everything, including tourism, which is the second issue I wanted to highlight. India receives only 7 million tourists a year. For the cradle of civilization that India is, this is an incredibly low number. Turkey receives 39 million tourists every year. It is equal to, given our population, India receiving close to 700 million tourists a year. That is the kind of burden that tourism brings on our infrastructure, our national infrastructure, and the country can handle it. So basically, I'm aware of your travels around the world. These are stops that you should make, but I think a more relevant experience, more relevant interaction would be going to Turkey, because
Thank you.
for two reasons. 12 years ago, Turkey's per capita was about the same as India's. Now it is 9 times of India's. 12 years. 12 years ago, Turkey's tourism was about 7-8 million. Now it's 39 million. We have done things that I think might be very relevant for you. So here's my invitation.
Thank you. I accept your invitation.
Usha Agarwal, she is also the past president of the FICCI Ladies Organization.
Sir, am I seeing a Chief Minister of Maharashtra, a crusading against corruption? Can you just throw some light on what are your plans for removing the corruption in Maharashtra?
In fact, corruption is one cancer which derails entire development process of our country and our state. So we have been doing series of initiatives we are taking, but the one initiative which I must mention, our state has recently enacted Right to Service Act, because high level corruption we always talk about, but a common man feels the heat of corruption at small levels. He actually engages with the government for small services, because after all, whether it is a government or a local government, a corporation or a Jilla Parishad, all of us are in a role of service providers. And the agony is that we don't provide service, not in time, not for proper cost, and actually that makes it, people talk against their government. So recently, we have enacted Right to Service Act, wherein we say that getting a service from government is right of people, and to give them service in proper time is duty of government. If a government officer erstwhile did not give service in right time, the person had no legal recourse. Now we say that every department will notify what services the department is giving, how much time would he require to give the service, what will be the cost of service, what are the papers required to give the service. All these 4 things will be notified by every department, and that notification is part of our law. And then if somebody applies and if he doesn't get a service in stipulated time at stipulated cost, then there is a whole framework we have created wherein he has a right to appeal, the person would be fined, and after certain the government official, after certain penalization, even if he goes on doing the same, he will be removed out of service. So I think right right? Like the Right to Information Act has given a right to get the information, the Right to Service Act, once it gets mature, it would give the right to people to get the service, and at the same time, it will curb the corruption in the bureaucracy.
We have just time for just 2-3 more questions before we wrap it up. I can see hands over there. So I will come to you. We'll have a question from Mr. Vijay Nayak, who is the editor of the newspaper Sakal from Delhi. Vijay ji.
Mr. Fadnavis, on 29th of April, you tweeted from Israel. And the tweet is here. It said you, Israel former President and former Prime Minister Shimon Peres agrees to mobilize Israeli technology to help reduce farmers' suicide. Well, I want to ask you, what is this technology, number one? And the second tweet which you did was that meeting with Netanyahu and Agriculture Minister Yair Shadi agreed for collaboration with Maharastra to combat agrarian crisis in Vidarbha and Marathwada. Could you elaborate?
As we all know that on one hand, Maharashtra is most progressive state. On other hand, we are unfortunate to have most farmer suicides in few districts of Maharashtra. So we have decided to take it head on, and we have taken 2 districts as pilot districts which have witnessed most suicides in last 20 years. One is Yavatmal district and of Vidarbha, and other is Osmanabad district of Marathwada. And now what we have decided is to put in all our efforts into these 2 districts to come out with a proper solution. So when I met Mr. Shimon Peres, I urged him that the Peres Foundation, which takes so many initiatives worldwide, should collaborate with us, because Israel is one country which has excelled in agriculture on basis of technology. So I said, now we want this technology to be transferred to India. Already we have started certain initiatives. Recently at Nagpur, we have a collaborative citrus initiative with Israel, wherein they are helping us improving the quality of citrus fruit. So using their technology, the Shimon Peres Foundation would collaborate with us, would not only invest but also help us on ground to find the sustainable solutions for the agrarian crisis. At the same time, I also urged Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu that let's take this as a challenge, because since both of our country wants to have collaboration, then let's collaborate for humanity. Because I think if the farmers are committing suicides, there cannot be a big problem than that. That's the biggest problem. So with this collaboration, we would bring all the technologies which Israel is using in its country in agriculture to these 2 districts, and to monitor that. What I have done is, for every subdivision of the district, I have placed one principal secretary from my government. We would converge all the government schemes, and we will give the benefits of those schemes to the farmers in that subdivision, and that would be monitored by none less than a principal secretary. So all the initiatives of our government, of the central government, and of the Shimon Peres Foundation, of Israel government would be converged in these 2 districts, so that in next 2 years we make these districts suicide free. There would be no suicide, and if we are able to do it, I think then the replication is very easy.
Paresh Rugnani from UK, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, they say that some people make things happen, some people watch what happens, some
wonder what happened. Some people make things happen, some people watch what happens, some people wonder what happened. I think we can all see that you're a can man. You take the T out of can't, and you make impossible into I am possible, basically. On behalf of all of us, I sincerely would like to say your presence here is worth more than any presence anyone could give. And it reminds me of a film from Mumbai to Goa, and I think that's what you've done here. My question was, I think you're a CEO, Chief Enthusiastic Officer, Chief Energetic Officer. That's great, great sense of humor, BJP, be jolly person. Anyway, to cut the story short, my question is, I always say winners never quit and quitters never win. What do you think is your sort of winning mantras, winning secrets of success? What keeps you sort of awake at night, or what gets you up in the morning? What's your motivation? Basically.
See, I am a person with mission. In my life, when I'm grateful to Amruta, but when we decided to marry, I told her, don't expect anything from me. And she has been kind enough not to expect anything from me. So I am a man with mission. I am there to make a change. The moment I feel that I'll not be able to make a change, I'll go home. I'm absolutely clear about that. So when you are on a mission, the mission gives you energy. It keeps you awake. And I feel that what I want to do is to just look at the face of the last man, and if I can make him smile, I think that is the biggest reward I can get in my life.
Kiranji, it can't happen. It can't happen that you're there in the audience and we don't insist that you please ask a question.
I think from Kiranji, I don't expect a question. I expect a suggestion.
The first woman IPS officer, the highest ranking IPS officer in the world.
There is a question she can guide me.
I was enjoying listening to it. It's not so often, it's such a rare occasion where you can get a young, dynamic, somebody who you trust today, somebody the country respects fully. I think I was enjoying every word he was saying, so I want to keep listening to him, okay? Thank you.
With that, Shalini, okay, this is the last question. We will just wrap up. Shalini Piramal will ask a question.
Respected Devendra ji, I would like to ask you that there has been a huge amount of money which has been stolen from irrigation in Maharastra. How would you punish the guilty?
We've already started inquiry against them. The Anti-Corruption Bureau has started a massive inquiry initiative against all the culprits. And let me assure you that every single person, howsoever high placed he may be, he'll be absolutely brought to books. He'll have to pay for what he has done and unearth every single corruption in Water Resources Department.
I just want to add that Shri Lalu Yadav, that fodder scam was 700 crores. The irrigation scam is 70,000 crores. I was just saying the magnitude of the scam, that fodder scam was 700 crores and the irrigation scam is one of the biggest scams in the country, 70,000 crores. 80,000 was spent and people say not even 5,000 crores worth has been. Irrigation has not even gone up by 0.5%.
That's absolutely right. See, you'll be amazed to know that Maharashtra accounts for 40% of dams in entire India, and 82% of Maharashtra agriculture is dry land farming. Only 18% of Maharashtra agriculture receives flow irrigation. So you can imagine after spending 70,000 crores, if only 18% land is under irrigation, then the land is not irrigated. Somebody's coffers have been irrigated.
Okay, now I really mean the last question because I see Mohan Sivanand here, editor of Reader's Digest India, with a question.
Good afternoon, sir. I enjoyed every bit of what you spoke. But I have one basic question, and I think it should be the last question. You said that there were 150 odd regulations to bypass or get passed, and you said that you used a very colorful phrase that I always remember. You said there's one window but several doors. But my question is, we've been independent for 70 odd years, and we still blame the British for all that you said. How is that you had to be born, educated, become chief minister, and we all had to wait all these years to get these things changed?
No, in fact, I will never blame the Britishers because the institutions they created were fantastic. Very good. Actually, we abused those institutions. There were certain institutions which were not required because they created it to show their might after getting independence. But the best institutions which they created, we abused. So I feel that our country is getting matured every year. Our leadership is getting matured. Our democracy, our people are getting matured. And I see a very bright future. And I feel that not just me, but you will find better leaders than me coming forward in next few years.
Great achievements stand on the ground of humility. You embody that, sir, in every way. We are truly, truly grateful. The All Ladies League and the Women Economic Forum and everybody over here salutes your spirit, your exemplary leadership, and your huge support and huge motivation to the cause of women that you have led by being here. Thank you so much for being here.